You good?
Yes, sir.
Well, I'm excited to get started. You know, I'm really looking forward to the spring. We do have a lot of players back, so that's exciting for us. And I think this is a spring that we really need to take some steps forward and get better and really improve. We should be able to execute our offense and defense better and make more strides because of the experience that we have coming back. You know, when you look back on last spring, we had a lot of new faces, a lot of new guys. We knew there were going to be a lot of errors out there, and you know, we worked extremely hard to get better technically. I think this spring is one where we can really improve and really get closer to where we're working to get. Our players had a really good off season. They worked extremely hard in the weight room. We worked hard on our speed. We had a great testing week. I was very impressed with our testing week, and you know, we're getting closer to what we want speed-wise. We're getting closer to what we want strength-wise and size-wise on the offensive front and defensive front. So I was very impressed with our players and the way they competed and the excitement that we had throughout the entire testing week. You know, we got some new coaches in here, so it'll be fun to get out on the field and see their personalities come out and how they coach their players. So that's exciting for me. I'm really excited about Lonnie Galloway coming in as our wide receiver coach / co-offensive coordinator, and also Coach Klanakis taking over the role as co-offensive coordinator. So I think it's going to be a really good match. We've been working hard, getting Lonnie caught up, but also seeing some of the things that he brings to the table. Some different things offensively as far as scheme goes, some different things technique-wise that the receivers utilize. You know, it's kind of a situation where he was the first guy I thought of when we started it. I tried to hire him before. I really thought that I was going to hire him before. And then all of a sudden there was about a 24-hour, 36-hour period where I couldn't get a hold of him. You know, his phone, it just, there was no answer to the phone. And the guy on my staff that had a relationship with him couldn't get a hold of him. I panicked a little bit and moved on and found out later, a couple days later, that his mom passed away. So it was a situation where he was dealing with that and I wasn't able to get a hold of him. But what I did do was I was able to get to know him and spoke a number of times on the phone together, and certainly been following him ever since then. You know, the idea that he's put the first player drafted in the NFL and an 8th round draft pick in the NFL, and when you watch those guys on video, you know, you really see that they don't just have ability, that they're very, very well coached. So I'm really excited about that. And Coach Klanakis certainly deserves to be the co-offensive coordinator. He understands the offense. He's coordinated before when he was with Coach Alt at the University of Nevada, and we've been together for a long time. So I know a lot of times people think, well, Coach calls the plays, but you know, what happens with the coordinators are they have a lot of responsibility on how we're going to install the offense, how we're going to teach it. There's a number of times when I have to leave the room, whether it's to come talk to y'all or do other things, that they have to just move on and get going and keep working and keep going in the right direction. And I've got all the confidence in the world that will happen for us. So I am looking forward to that. Sometimes you worry a little bit about when you lose guys on your staff, you know, but sometimes it's the best thing because you go back and start over again and reteach. And, you know, we're in the meeting room last night. We came in and worked all last night as an offensive staff, and we're all going back through everything that we teach and all the details. And similar thing happened after my second year at Arkansas, and we took off and had 2 great years. So I'm excited. Hopefully it'll turn out that way again. But I am looking forward to that. We're fairly healthy as a team. You know, Devontae Fields is coming off of a shoulder surgery, so he'll be limited in spring ball. which means he'll be out there, but he will not have any contact drills. And as the spring goes on, he'll get more and more involved because of the timetable of that shoulder healing. He gets closer to be able to do more things each week. And then Trayvon Young will be out of all spring ball. The doctors are real encouraged with his progress and the way he's going, and we're looking forward to seeing how the summer goes for him and his possibilities of getting back on the field in the fall. But right now I don't really know a whole lot more than that. But other than that, we should have everybody out there. So with that, I'll just open up for questions.
How do you, to use your words, how do you get new coaches caught up, quote unquote? How do you do that?
Yeah, I mean, he's studying a lot. He's working hard on it. We're doing extra meetings. But like I said, it's not only, it's kind of a combination of getting him caught up on what we've been doing, how we've been, executing our offense, but also what we can all learn from the system that he's been in, that he's been running, and the techniques that they've utilized, and that's what I'm going to tell our receivers today is that, it's going to be a combination of, what we've been doing and what makes us better. And we need to learn from what makes us better, what makes me better as a coach, from what Lonnie's knowledge is and his success has been. We need to utilize and learn. So we got a lot of time to work on that and get better at it, but there'll be a lot of long hours.
Bobby, you're obviously not the only head coach that calls plays offensively. Why is it that offensive coordinators under some of these coaches are undermined or undervalued by the public? Is it because the head coaches in fact call the plays? Why is that?
Yeah, I've never undervalue anybody that works for me. I know, in particularly coordinators, because they do a lot of work, and they do a lot of motivation work with the players. They do a lot of organization work. Sometimes people get caught up on who calls the play, and one of the things that I really know is that a majority of our plays are called during the week, and with everybody's input. So when it's 4th and 1 and we make a call, we've practiced that a number of times during the week. We game planned it. It might not have came from me. I'm just the one that calls it out on the field. So, I truly believe that. And then we have to do a good job during the game of making adjustments on the sideline and communicating. And that's why we all need to be on the same page, is because something gets said upstairs. Like Nick says something upstairs. That needs to put a picture in all of our minds, and then we relate that information to the player. It needs to put that same picture in his mind, and then we can get the adjustment made. So we have to be in it all together.
What's it been like working with Nick in this short period of time?
I mean, it's been great because it hasn't just been in the short period of time. He was a student coach for us at Arkansas, came to Western, and seems like he's been involved in it. He knows the offense. He played in it. He's always, the thought was he'll be a quarterback, work with the quarterbacks. It just happened sooner than I thought, and losing Garrick in this short notice obviously was a shock to me. But when they announced the hire of Lovie Smith, I called Andy Wagner and said, hey, get our list out. We could have a situation here that might develop. I never really thought it would, but you always got to be prepared.
Have you ever gone into a spring this settled? You've got so much experience that team does. And if so, how does that translate into advantages?
Yeah, I think the definite advantage is our experience and our knowledge, and the fact that we have a lot of players that have competed against really good players and have experienced where their technique and their fundamentals help them succeed against good football players. And I think we can take steps forward. But I feel like, we've been like here before. When I was here before, we had an offensive line that basically played together for 3 years. We had a lot of players back. So I think it was fun when I first got here to say, hey, we got all these experienced guys. But then they were all gone. It was like, you had 2 new years. You had one to teach all the guys you got coming back, and then another one when they were all gone. So I think this is really a year now that we have experience, we have young guys that have competed and played and had some success, that now's the time to build on that.
Let me talk about testing. Talk about the speed of this team. And it seemed like, from looking at the times, you've gotten a lot faster.
Yeah, you know, and we work hard on it. We worked hard on our stances. We worked hard on our first 10. You know, I think that's one of the things that we concentrate and focus on a lot for our players. I don't think we're still as good as we can be in that aspect, you know, in the first 10 yards and the technique and things that we work on there. You know, I knew Sturgill was going to time real well because 2 weeks prior we do, you know, experience how to get ready for it. And he wasn't even running hard the very first time he ran down, and it was under 4.5. And then the next time he went pretty hard, and he was like 4.36. So I was like, I can't wait to see when it's real. You know, you dress down, you take the baggy shorts off, you do everything to try to get your best performance. And he really is that fast. He can really, really go, and he makes it look easy. But he's very good technique-wise. He was a good track athlete. So he's extremely fast. And then we got some guys competing, you know, right there with him. So that's exciting to see. And they're all young. So that's a good thing about it, too. I was really impressed with Reggie's jump, you know. That's getting up there, you know. That's really getting up there. And I think he shocked everybody because he was competing hard with Staples, and they were kind of going back and forth, and then he blew him out of the water and you know, got him by 2.5 inches. So that was an amazing. But it's fun to see those guys compete in the weight room and get ready for it. You know, that's one of the things that we work hard on is in the off season. That's really your game day for a week, and you got to get ready and go out there and show up and get your all-time best.
How do you hope to use that kind of speed?
Get them the ball, you know, and cover people, you know. But I think that's the thing that when you get good with your technique and you got catch-up speed at the corner spot, you know, that you're a little more aggressive at playing press coverage and getting up and taking away short stuff and giving their D-line more time to get to the quarterback when you know you can catch up and get there if something happens. So that's certainly a huge advantage for him. And Jair, too, because Jair can really run. I thought Shaq had a great testing week. You know, he's bigger, he's stronger, he got faster. He really made a huge stride from, you know, last year was his first off season with us, and now this is being his second. It's amazing how big a stride he and Jaquay Savage really made, too.
What did you identify in Court Dennison that said, hey, this guy's going to be a coach?
Yeah, I mean, it didn't take long. We only brought him in and first as a graduate assistant. Then I brought him back up here as a graduate assistant. You know, you're always looking for that young guy that has the ability to grow and mature and be a coordinator someday, and you see all that in Court Dennison. He's very smart, played football at the highest level in college. He's done a great job of recruiting without leaving campus. You know, he helped us get guys signed without ever even being able to leave campus. So he's going to hit on all aspects, I think.
What do you want to see this spring from Lamar? What have you seen to this point in the offseason and then on the field this spring? What's the big focus?
Yeah, I feel like he really made a lot of strides in our bowl preparation and his ability to do both from under the center and his footwork and his understanding of defenses, you know, is a great improvement from the end of the season to how he played in the bowl game. And you saw that happening in practice, and we just got to build on that. You know, we got to continue to get his footwork right. I want him to be able to have a lot of confidence in his accuracy, and most of that for him starts with his footwork and being in the proper position, and you know, just being more consistent in throwing the ball with accuracy and timing, and really, you know, growing up and maturing in the passing game.
You identify him as your starting quarterback going in. Does it change what you try to do offensively if you find your playbook to reflect his particular
Yeah, in a way it does, no doubt about it. And I think that showed up in the last couple games of the season, is that you have to use his ability and his strengths, and then we got to continue to grow the other parts of the offense that we know down the road that you're going to need to win games or come from behind. And so again, what we'll do is we'll install for 7 practices, then we'll come back and start over again, and then we'll do it again in August. And that after that period of time, then we've got to mold everything around, our starting guy and our quarterback and utilize what he does best. But he's certainly, his ability to run and the things he can do with his speed and his running ability is unique. So we have to utilize his talents. And it's always hard in spring ball and that, because how many times do we want him tackled? And it's always that challenge of how do you practice if you run past the line of scrimmage and the quarterback's live or not live. So that's going to be my biggest decision. Is a year ago we felt like, hey, well, I don't know if we know enough about this offense if we don't make it live when you pass the line of scrimmage. I'm not sure yet if I'm going to be able to do that this spring. I just don't know yet. So we'll see how that plays out.
Are there plays that you just throw out because you want to tailor it to his particular talent and things that you add to enhance that?
Yeah, certainly, and that's part of the off season is what do we study to add? What do we try out here in the spring that we didn't have in our package last year? So there'll be some of that we do, and then what parts? Because if you're adding something, you feel like you need to take something away because there's only so much you can do. What parts do we take away? And that's why it's always your offensive always is evolving every year. Around the talent that we have.
What do you, like, which position group will Reggie work with?
That's a great question there too, because he's going to continue to carry the ball at running back, and we also feel like he can run routes and catch the ball. So between, our coaching staff, how do we utilize Reggie? How do we get the ball in his hands? Because we know he's dynamic when he does that. We've got to give him the experience now to protect the quarterback, because, we tried to limit that as much as possible last year, although when he did it, he did a good job of it. And then, Travion Samuel's another guy, a guy that can really run with the ball, that's very fast. How do we utilize his ability and get him the ball and get him more touches? Because, his touches and yards per attempt are really high. So we need to get him more touches also. He'll do some quarterback work, but he'll do a lot with running backs and some with the wide receivers.
Third year at Louisville was Gator Bowl, third year at Arkansas was Sugar Bowl. What should be expectations this year?
Yeah, what we need to do is expect to get on the practice field and work extremely hard every practice. And that's all we got to be concerned about. We had a good off season. Now we get to go out there and practice and make each other better. So that's really the focus, is get better on a daily basis.
What questions do you have about this team that you'd like to see resolved coming out of spring break?
Well, we always want to make sure that we tackle and do a good job of tackling better defensively. We always want to know who's going to compete in the depth. I think that's one of the things that's exciting is you got couple corners back that played a bunch, but you got a couple corners right behind them that are extremely talented and young and need to compete and get in there and try to take somebody's spot. Offensively, we've got the offensive line to develop and improve the depth. So those are huge challenges for us. We've got a bunch of receivers back, so it's kind of like at the corner spot, you got to compete and find out who the best ones are and what the best positions are for them, as well as, at the running back. So I think the good thing about this spring is there should be a lot of competition out there, guys wanting to take somebody else's job. Skyler's no longer on the team, so he was sent home from the bowl game and was dismissed from the team.